All right, what is going on, everyone? Thank you for clicking on this video. I am guessing that most of you are going to be fishing the Texas High School Bass Association this year. Maybe you're a parent, a guardian, or a boat captain, and I want to thank you, first of all, for clicking on this video. Here at Lake Pro Tackle, we strive to bring you the best rods, reels, and tackle available. We're located in North Texas, sandwiched between Lake Texoma and Ray Roberts. Myself, my name's Sam. I am the brand development and marketing person here at Lake Pro Tackle, and I graduated out of the THSBA in 2018, fished in college, and I've been captaining and coaching Fly Around High School bass fishing team for the past 3 years. So I'm going on my 4th year here, and I am super excited to basically show new anglers what it's all about, the whole competition, and this video specifically, we're going to be going over a little bit of the information involved with Texas High School Bass Association, running over some of the major rules. And I will state, before I get into anything, I'm going to be highlighting the major portions of the rule book right here. So I have it all printed out, guys, and I highly recommend you, actually, I encourage you and push you to printing these out or reading the full list of rules online. You know, the rules are there to make sure everyone is on a level playing field. You can complain and gripe about people using live scope all you want. It doesn't change the fact that they still have to catch the fish. So with that out of the way, guys, I have my general information session notes that I use for the Fly Around team that I'm going to be referencing to first, and then we're going to be diving into the actual rule book here. So this is going to be a lengthy video, so stay tuned here. I'm going to try not to put any ads in anywhere, but stay tuned, and thank you so much for clicking on this video again. So let's go ahead and start off with the just kind of general overview with the Texas High School Bass Association. I believe they're going into their 11th year, I'm not sure, but they've been around for quite a while. I believe it's like 11 years now, and you know, they're doing a wonderful job. Tim is the director of the Texas High School Bass Association. He's a great guy. Love talking with him. He's over in East Texas area. Of course, in the division that I fish in North Texas / Metro, back when I was fishing high school tournaments, Matt Tolnay and his wife, amazing people. Of course, Ryan, he does the bump board stuff and helps with weighing as well. And they're awesome people, and just want to give a huge shout out to them and what they're doing with the whole tournament scene in high school. All right, so let's go ahead and pop into this here. So, you know, every time I greet incoming freshmen generally, sometimes sophomores, sometimes juniors, really, anyone coming into the Texas High School Bass Association and really starting into high school fishing, this is kind of what I start with. Definitely introduce myself. So, I mean, if an introduction to y'all kind of know who I am. I already told you a little bit about my backstory there, but I'm going to start with this. And the first thing I mention is the team structure of high school fishing. So team structure wise, teams are made up of 2 kids and 1 boat captain. Now we'll get into all the nitpicky stuff that has everything to do with like eligibility and all that a little bit later. But you know, for team structure, 2 kids in a boat with a boat captain is going to be the just overall structure of how teams are formed. Now, both these kids have to be from the same school. If that school has a fishing team, every kid that goes to that school has to be on that team. If the school doesn't have a team, then if you're homeschooled or something, you can join just about any team you want. So boat captains, general thing, you know, boat captains have to go through the background check, have to be Safe Sport certified, be over 21 years old, and then on their boat, we'll get into some of that later. So another big thing is that if one kid cannot make it to a competition, which will happen a lot in high school, especially if you've got 2 athletic kids that are in either baseball or football or basketball or soccer or something like that, one kid can fish on the boat alone with the boat captain if it is a immediate father or mother, and then or guardian. And if not, what will happen is that there will have to be an official observer in the boat, and that official observer has a whole subset of rules that they have to adhere to, which we will go over a little later as well. So that's kind of like the team structure. When you're looking for partners, you want to kind of mix fishing styles a little bit. You know, if one person is great at throwing like a Texas rig or dragging something on the bottom, that would be great to pair up with someone who loves like throwing a crankbait or some moving baits, because it allows you to cover water more efficiently. If the fish are on a soft plastic bite, one person can figure that out, and then the other person can switch over from throwing crankbaits and stuff. Or if you want to do just have one person do one thing, one person do the other thing, you'll still have a ton of fun on the water, because I'm sure someone eventually will run into a pretty good pattern. So moving on here, let's kind of break down the structure of the THSBA tournaments and kind of how they set up. So there are 5 regular season tournaments throughout the year, and at these 5 regular season tournaments, you will qualify for the regional tournament. So the way you qualify for the regional tournament is you get points based on every event you fish in your division. So I captain Metroplex, so all the kids at Flower Mound will be competing for, at those Metroplex events, they're gonna be competing for AOY points. You can fish out a division, but you're not getting extra AOY points in your Metroplex, basically tier Angler of the Year points. So 5 division events in the regular season. The top 40% in AOY going into the regional tournament will be fishing that regional tournament. And the regional tournament is comprised of 3 different divisions. So I believe it's West, North, and Metroplex divisions are one regional, and then you've got like your Central division, and then you've got your other regional event for like West and stuff like that. So typically the West, Metro, and North Division tournaments are going to be the hardest tournaments, just because of the sheer number of teams involved in that one. And then I would say like your East Texas ones are going to be your second hardest ones to get into, based on level of competition and also just vast amount of anglers. So at that regional tournament, if you finish in the top 30%, you will qualify for the state tournament. And the regional tournament, it always depends on what lake you're on. You know, I can generally say around above 6 pounds will get you into the state tournament at regionals. But the whole goal of the season is, I tell my kids, don't zero, try to catch 1 fish. There are proven methods to catch at least 1 fish. And if you stick to those and you're having a tough day, stuff happens, I get it. But there are things that you can do even without a big motor to get around and you know, go fishing. So of course, trailering is one of the big things. You're able to pack up the boat, drive over to another ramp, launch the boat, and do that if you don't have a boat that can make a really far run or something. And that's another thing I love about the format of these tournaments here for high schoolers. So the state tournament is going to be held at one specific lake, and they will release that date and lake ahead of time, so you'll have plenty of time if you are far away from it. I know the past couple of years we've had to drive around 4 or 5 hours down to like Lake Belton or Lake Sam Rayburn, and you have to get housing. So that's one big thing to take into account. Generally, regional tournaments won't be more than 2 hours away for your division, so you probably won't have to worry about housing unless you're really into it and you want to go pre-fish the night before, you know, go down like Thursday night, fish Friday for official practice, and then fish the tournament. So big thing too, state tournament is 2 days, not 1 day. Every other tournament in Texas high school is going to be a 1 day, state is 2 days. So that is one thing to note there. And now for the final tournament of the year, that is going to be the AOY Challenge, the Angler of the Year Challenge, where the top 10 placers in each division compete against each other, and that would be 90 boats, I believe, because there's 9 divisions, so 90 of the best anglers, angling teams across Texas will compete for the title of Anglers of the Year. So all in all, if you make it, if you're doing really well, make regionals, make state, and are top 10 in AOY at the end of the year, which cuts off at after the final tournament. So you've got 5 tournaments to prove that you are really, really good at fishing and can be considered anglers of the year at that point. So regionals and state do not apply to the AOY challenge at the end of the year. So all in all, total number of events you can fish are 8. And like I said earlier, you cannot fish out of division for AOY points in your division. You only can qualify for scholarships and stuff like that. So let's break down kind of how it runs through the event. First off, you're going to register for your event on the Texas High School Bass Association app. You're going to pre-register if you can. If not, there's like a $20 late fee if you go register at the academy the night before the tournament. So registration happens. You want to do it at least a week in advance, at least. If you're mailing in checks and stuff, do it a week and a half, 2 weeks ahead of time. So if you know you're going to be fishing all these, just do it ahead of time. Doesn't hurt. Entry fees are going to be $65, and we'll get into kind of more of the cost breakdown a little later in the video here. Registration is going to happen first. You're going to go check in at Academy, and they have each of these information packets in the app when you are going to each tournament. So check-ins will happen at Academy. If something happens where Academy might shut down or something, they're going to tell you exactly where to go in the app, and check the Facebook as well, and they'll give you all the information you need there. Check-ins happen Friday afternoon, the night before the tournament, and then rolls around, you get your wristbands, get everything all set, and then tournament morning rolls around. You can either, again, like I said, you can have a house, a B&B, if you stay at a buddy's house, you wake up, fish through the day, and then now it's time for weigh-in. And we're gonna get into, let's actually go ahead and mention this. As you're loading, unloading the boat, there can be, so the rule is there has to be 2 anglers in the boat at all times sitting down. The only exception to this is if you're loading and unloading the boat. So make sure you're wearing your kill switch, your life jackets, everything has to be legal while that big motor's running. But as you are loading and unloading, you only have to have 2 kids in the boat, as the parent, guardian, boat captain backs you in, and then immediately make sure that boat captain gets in the boat with you. As it goes along, you go finish the tournament up, go weigh in, make sure you have one of the Texas High School Bass Association bags. That is one of the big things, and make sure you turn in your wristbands or you're gonna get 0 points for the event, and we'll get into points a little later as well. That is the first page of the breakdown here. Next up, we have Angler of the Year points. So going back to Angler of the Year. So each event, you're gonna get up to 500 points based on how you fish in the tournament. So generally there's no more than around 260-ish teams in each event. So some of them might be out of division, so you might get even more points based on how you finish. So if there's like 200, let's just have an even number, 250 anglers all in your division, so there's no outliers that will be taking points away from you. If there are 250 and you finish, let's say 10th place, you're gonna get 190 points. So first place gets 500, second place gets 499, and it keeps going down in a tier like that. So you might be wondering, what if you zero in a tournament? So the way they do that, you won't, I guess it's not penalized for zeroing, but you will have some points taken away for zeroing. So let's say you place 101st, and as points go down, 100th place is gonna get 400 points, right around that. And then they're gonna take 25 points off of what that last place got. So if the last person to weigh a fish was 100th, they're getting 400 points, and you're getting 375 points. So that's kind of how they keep track of the zeros, and how they, I don't want to say penalize, but I guess penalize you for zeroing. Next up, Team of the Year points, guys. So Team of the Year also applies to, I guess, Team of the Event. They're gonna take let's focus on Team of the Event first. So each regular season tournament, including, I believe, regionals and state. So each of the tournaments, they're gonna take the top 3 highest placing teams, combine their weights out of each school. So for Flower Mound, if I have 3 teams that do really well, place like 1st, 5th, and like 6th, we have a very, very high chance of winning Team of the Event at that event, and we'll get points awarded to us, higher points for the whole Team of the Year stuff at the end of the season. So team of the event or team of the year points are very important, I feel like. I think it shows the strength of your team, and that it's one thing that a lot of coaches haven't been focusing on, but I think that, fishing is a very individual sport, of course, but fishing as a team, like a whole team as a school, I think it's very important to work on that as well. So I believe it's at state where School of the Year is crowned, so if you have a very good team, you can always help each other, and we'll get into those more specific rules on that here in a little bit. And I think, again, it's very important to work with your teammates in a way that's beneficial to everyone. All right, so let's move ahead into the costs of Texas high school and high school fishing, guys. So this is always one that parents are always, of course, interested about. So cost for Texas High School Bass Association, $60 preseason membership. So you're gonna pay that, I believe it's to whoever's running your club, whoever's running your fishing team, and then they're gonna enter that into the Texas High School Bass Association. So those are your main dues. Each tournament is going to be $65. So if you fish 8 tournaments, you're going to be doing whatever the math is on 8 times 65. So if you do every single one of them, you do that. If you only do the regular season division tournaments, you've got 5 times 65 if you don't make regionals. And if in whatever out of Division 1 you fish, that's another $65 on top of that. So keep that into account. Each tournament is going to be $65. And of course, when it comes down to it, tournament fees, that includes gas, food, snacks, whatever, waters, tackle, housing if you choose to go that route, especially for regionals and state. If you want to go pre-fish the night before and you want to stay out there and not have to drive forward and back 2 hours in the morning and then 2 hours going back. So housing can be a big factor. Another thing, pre-fishing, of course, you've got your gas, you've got more food, you've got all the time. And of course, for adults, time is money. If you're spending all your time driving, you're not making money. So that's kind of like a little breakdown of the cost. Now I'm gonna say, depending on where your tournament is, so for us, the closest tournament would be Louisville. We're not burning that much gas to get there. Of course, it all depends on what happens during the day. We could burn 10, 12 gallons of gas getting around the lake. But if you don't have a really big boat, you're not gonna be burning that much gas anyway, unless you are trailering around to different ramps on the lake. So costs can be a big factor into high school fishing, and there's definitely ways to cut down on costs. So be very conscious about that, kids. You don't wanna, if you're paying for it out of your pocket, that's wonderful. But if your parents are helping you out, be very mindful of how much it does cost to go fishing in high school. All right, so we're gonna move on here to the off limits and no information. And I do wanna reiterate, I am not hitting every single thing in here. I'm highlighting some of the things I think are super important and some of the things that I think y'all should know, especially from the off limits and no information portions of the rule book. So go download it, go read it all so you are familiar with all the rules here. So starting off here, off limits and no information, guys. Cannot be on the water after 6 p.m. on Friday before the tournament. So tournament Saturday, guys, Saturday the 5th. You cannot be on the water Friday the 4th after 6 p.m. unless otherwise cleared by the tournament director. So here in the Metroplex Division, North Division, and West Division, Matt Tolnay, I would be contacting him. His contact information is all in the app and on all of the information sheets for the tournament. So if you need to test out equipment, I highly recommend just going to another lake, doing it. That might be closer. If it's not, you can get prior okays from him to do that. Now, one big thing here, I've seen this so many times. If you are fishing on the dam of any lake and it has like keep out buoys, if it has no fishing buoys, if it says no boats, anything that has buoys basically to keep you out of there, just stay out of it, guys. So I know a couple, back in my years when I was fishing in high school, I know a couple teams got DQ'd because they were within the buoy range and someone took a picture of them and they were fishing like right on the water tower thing there. So just keep that in mind. I am not here to DQ anyone, but if I see you are getting just such a huge advantage going into some place that you're not supposed to be fishing, guys, like I'm reporting it. That's just who I am. You've got to follow the rules, just like everyone else. One big thing here too, no drone operation during tournament or official practice days. And official practice days are designated as the days before the regional, state, and AOY challenge tournaments. I don't believe the regular division tournaments have official practice days, but they do have off limits and no information times. So let's go into that. No information time is going to be Monday through Friday before the event, so 5 days before the tournament on Saturday. All that no information includes everyone excluding people entered into the tournament. So anglers in the tournament and boat captains in the tournament can give you information. No one else other than that can give you information about fishing on the lake, including you know, where to catch fish, waypoints, trails, spots, baits, water temps, any patterns that they might be on, bait fish to look out for, rods and reels to use and stuff like that. So that whole no information period is like locked down. Do not get any information about the lake or the fishing on the lake. Another thing here, no placing habitat. So I know here, especially in the metro, brush piles are a huge deal when it comes to catching fish. Green lights and habitat, you cannot put those out within the off limits period, guys. And that's going to be that 5 days leading up to the tournament. So do not put brush piles out there. Do not drag brush piles into the lake. And this, I believe, could be considered not a felony, but it's definitely on the higher tier of things that you can do to get you in trouble. And then other forms of fish attractants like feeders and stuff like that. All right, moving on here. This is one of the biggest things, guys. No hiring guides within 30 days of the competition day. And I think there's a huge gray area when it comes to hiring guides. You can also not go, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna have to read the rules again to double check. The wording's a little odd, and there is a gray area when it comes to going out with a guide. So as long as you're not hiring a guide within 30 days of the competition, you're fine. So if you go with a guide, and I don't recommend going with a guide. I feel like if you're gonna learn, do it yourself, learn how to find the fish. But if you wanna jumpstart your stuff, I understand, like if you're a freshman or someone who's brand new to it, go out with a guide plenty months in advance so there's no question. Make sure you have like an invoice with like a date of when you went out, all that, take pictures, I don't care. Just make sure you're not hiring a guide in that 30-day period. And one thing too I want to mention is guides as boat captains. Now I know some guides that do boat captain. The rule is adjusted to where, I wouldn't say adjusted, but the rule is guides can act as boat captains. They have to be, they cannot be guiding on that lake within 30 days. So it's still that same no information period, and also the guides cannot be on that lake within 30 days of the tournament. Those are some of the biggest things there. I've wrote down some of my fishing no-nos to do on the water. So this is a big thing too. I've found so many just inconsiderate parents / boat captains on the water, like just practicing, not even like in a tournament, but I mean, just on the water in practice and in the tournaments, I will say, where they have zero respect for what I'm doing on the water. I might be fishing a point, they might roll up 10 yards from me and start fishing that same point. You cannot do that in a tournament, guys. And just kind of fishing etiquette in general, I want to express my concern for fishing etiquette as this whole high school deal is developing, college deal even, and even in the pro side, you see it. You see anglers get into fights sometimes about fishing too close to each other. But the biggest thing written in the rules, guys, is no fishing within 25 yards of other anglers unless agreed upon by both parties. So if I see a buddy of mine, 30 yards away, and I can say, hey, Joe, is it cool if I fish next to you? And he says no, even though we're buddies and he says no, you have to respect that 25 yards is not that far. I can cast at least 50 yards on just about any reel I have. So stay plenty far away. Do not even get into that gray area. Like, I think if you choose to encroach on someone, it's just gonna get heated. And nothing really good can come of that. There's gonna be spite in there, and then, I mean, who knows what might happen. So unless agreed upon by both parties, stay good distance away. Another thing here too, this is a very specific rule written in just about every college level event and pro event. No fishing within 50 yards of an anchored boat. And this can be a physical rope anchor, or this can be a shallow water anchor such as power poles, talons, raptors, something like that. And the thing written in this rule that a lot of people don't understand is you might have your power poles down, but you have to stow your trolling motor all the way up. So that is considered anchored. Just because you have your trolling motor in the water and your poles down does not consider you anchored for this rule. So you have to have your trolling motor stowed for you to be anchored. Let's see, fishing outside the boat. You know, if you get your bait stuck on something, you have to go get it. Go get it. I don't endorse anyone leaving their baits on other people's stuff. You know, they're paying for it. You know, it is a public waterway, a public lake, but that dock is private. So you cannot get on someone's dock, fish off their dock. You must make your casts in the boat. You must be able to land your fish in the boat there. So just stay in the boat as much as you can, unless you have to go out, use the restroom or something. Leave your rod in the water if you can, or leave your rod in the boat if you can, in case people are around, just to make sure that you're not gaining an advantage by going around in some back area behind a dock to go fish. Leading into that whole fishing part, you're only allowed one rod, one reel, one line, one lure in the water, and that has to be an artificial lure, guys. So if you are on schooling fish, I've had times where outside of tournaments, I have been on schooling fish, and they're schooling around the boat, and I can grab 2, 3, 4 rods, throw them all in the water, and I can catch 4 fish. Cannot do that. Only one rod with an artificial lure may be used at a time, with the exception of pork chunks and other biodegradable approved baits. So that's another thing. And of course, fishing day no-nos for boat captains and kids, guys. Don't do drugs, alcohol, or mind-altering substances. That's just kind of, I think, common sense when it comes to fishing on the water around kids. All right, last up here, guys, for my kind of just rundown for Texas high school. Safety is a huge thing. I highly want to focus on the whole safety aspect of high school fishing. I've been in some tournaments where it is gusting 35 miles per hour, just straight terrible wind, and luckily I was in a very, very nice boat that could handle it to an extent. But people that are in, you know, like smaller bass trackers, smaller aluminum boats and stuff like that, be very, very mindful and safe on the water. If you don't think you can make it back to an area after the wind picks up, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not risking your life to go catch a fish, all right? So first off, life jackets must be worn at all times. That's just hands down, just a rule that you should always follow. When you're operating a boat, or if you're in a boat, you never know what might happen on the water. I've hit a few waves with my college buddy, Caden. We didn't even see the wave. Like, the wave was cresting the other way, and we went up this wave, came crashing down about 3 foot, and I almost flew out the back of the boat just because of how fast we were going. So wear your life jacket at all times, guys. When the big motor's running, when the big motor's not running, you're able to take it off. Hopefully you're not in too windy conditions where if you do fall in, you're gonna get swept away, but be mindful of that, guys. So speed limit on tournament days and even official practice days, guys, 60 miles per hour is the max speed during a tournament at which you should run. I know those big Phoenixes, those big Skeeters and stuff with the 250s, they can go 70 something. A lot of people don't realize or read the rules that the max speed is only 60 miles per hour, guys. So stick to that rule. I know a lot of y'all, the majority of people probably watching this video, just getting into it, probably don't have a 250. So, you know, the safe running speed to get over waves, I would say, is 55 or 60 anyway. So you don't really need to go fast. I mean, my boat goes maybe 20 miles per hour on a good day. So I get where I need to go, I catch fish, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Where your kill switches is a huge thing, guys. It's not that hard. Captains, you plug it in onto your life jacket, wrapped around there, make sure it's on. And to be legal in the tournament trail, guys, your kill switch has to work. So if it's not working, don't even enter the tournament, not worth it. If you do really well, you're gonna get checked for it, and it's not worth having that embarrassment of, oh, my kill switch didn't work, I had no idea. So just do it. Watch the weather. You know, like I said earlier, winds can get very, very bad, and just be mindful of that. Texas High School will put out a statement if they do deem the severe weather or lightning can be a thing. I didn't quite read the full severe weather part, and I'm gonna leave that for you to do, but be mindful of that, guys. And finally, you're gonna have to have a working fire extinguisher, throw cushions, life vest to cover all occupants, and if you have an inflatable, you have to have a regular life jacket as well. So 3 people in the boat, you have to have 3 regular life jackets if everyone is wearing one of those inflatables. Nav lights you're gonna have in the back, make sure they're working. You're gonna have to have the running lights up front, working kill switch, and a working live well. And those are gonna be the biggest things that you have to be legal in the Texas High School Bass Association. We're gonna move into kind of the more official rules here. And I'm gonna kind of pick out some things that I might not have said in my little rundown, and let's go ahead and hop into it, guys. So back to the start here, let's go to just rule number 1, guys. The first header is going to be interpretation and enforcement. This is basically stating that follow all the boating laws, follow the state and federal guidelines for stuff. So if you are in Oklahoma, make sure you're following Oklahoma stuff on Lake Texoma. Moving down here to participation and eligibility. Participation is open to students and student teams in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, providing that the 12th grade student does not turn 19 before September 1st of their senior year. Texas High School Bass Association membership is $60 again, entry fee, pay all that, $65. You can do it all through the app, and make sure everyone signs their parents or legal guardian signs the release of liability and all the other forms that can be found on Texas High School Bass Association's app or their website. All right, so I already mentioned kind of the boat captain, 1 angler, and official observer. That's for you to dive into. Make sure you understand that. However, going down through number 2 here, I think that's all good. Points, I already kind of ran down. First is getting 500, second is getting 499, and keep going down, and if you zero, you're gonna get 25 less points than the last person. Now, big thing here, tournament buy-ins are receiving points for a tournament without competing in the tournament. There have been some tournaments where the kids are just not motivated. They don't need to really even finish the event, where we're gonna get off a little bit early. So I've had some tournaments where we competed in the tournament for what, not 6 hours, probably like 5 hours from 7 to 12. I would say that's competing in the tournament. We gave it a good shot, gave it a good run for 5 hours, more than half the tournament, and we turned in our wristbands when everything was set up on the trailer. So tournament buy-ins, I think, are basically being ruled as you don't even like show up for the tournament, but you paid for it. So you have to return your wristbands, and that's how they keep track of everything. Purchasing information, guys, I think I covered that really well. There are some nitpicky things in there with the no information. Don't get GPS points from people within the no information stuff, blah, blah, blah. Moving down to off limits and practice competition, guys, I think I did pretty good. One big thing, one of the biggest things in number 5 here are gonna be anglers may now not use their cell phones at all during competition hours except for emergencies. So that includes sending Snapchats to your girlfriend or boyfriend, giving updates on social media, which you cannot do as well. You cannot give updates to parents. You cannot give, in terms of fish, you can, if you're talking to them about like weighing and stuff, it's not an emergency, but leave that to the boat captain. The boat captain should already have all your parents' legal guardians information, so they're able to reach out to them for you. So they're basically cutting off all information that you might be gathering from your phones. I know that one big thing back when I was in high school too is people had each other's locations, so they were able to kind of just like jump around to areas where their buddies might be fishing to get information like that. I did mention this too, you cannot get information from anyone other than people in the competition, so that means don't call anyone in the tournament. You can't do that, but you can set up a designated area to bounce ideas off each other on the lake. So one thing that the Flower Mound High School team does is that we'll choose a designated area on the lake. We'll meet there at like 12, 1 o'clock, make sure everyone can catch fish and have fun. And that's one thing that you can do as well. That's one little, not loophole, it's definitely meant to be a teamwork type of thing. That is a legal manner where you're not getting other information from your phones. So I think that really covers most of the no information, off limits, and practice competition stuff. Competition day, teams may not follow a non-competitor's boat to participate in the placing of markers by a non-contestant. So that basically means don't follow people around. Just try not to look suspicious like that, guys. Registration went over really well. Awards, trophies for overall school, and that's going to be school of the event, and then plaques and trophies for 1st through 5th place along with Big Bass will be awarded at the tournament. So prizes will be awarded, must be claimed at the conclusion of the day. So definitely make sure you stay around if you think you're going to do pretty well. Safety, guys, read all this yourself. I'm not going to run through it again. This is for you to go through. Weather and moving events, guys, I'm going to let you do that. Sportsmanship, I think that sportsmanship is a huge thing, and you need to go read that for yourself as well. Again, I did point out some of the biggest things, don't do drugs, alcohol, anything like that. One big rule that they do have, conviction of a felony within the past 36 days will eliminate you as a competitor or a boat captain, and then suspension or disqualification / probation or ban from any tournament of the fishing organization. So you can get all that. It's all case by case, so definitely look at that. Boat and horsepower regulations, I mentioned that really well. Permitted fishing methods, did that really well. Boundaries, locations, and stuff, I think I covered that. Checkpoints, you're going to have to turn in your wristbands when you get them, and then at the end of the tournament, as soon as you go through like the bump area where you weigh in your fish, that's where they have the check-in station for you to do that. Late penalties, so make sure you're in line to weigh your fish, and they have that designated in the information packet, so make sure you're not late or you're not going to be able to weigh in and get points. Live fish, make sure your fish are all alive. Make sure that you're trying everything you can do to keep those fish alive, so have a fizz needle, have G-juice, have please release me in your boat, have ice when it's really hot. If you do have a dead fish, you're gonna get deducted 8 ounces or half a pound off your total weight. And if you bring in a short fish, so make sure all your fish are at least 14 inches. On fork, it's different because they have a slot. But everywhere else, I believe 14 inches is going to be your minimum length that you have to do. So don't bring in short fish. You're going to get deducted a pound off all those. Plus, you're not going to get to weigh in that fish. Big thing here, when you come up to weigh, make sure you're having one of those Texas High School Bass Association bags to bring your fish up in. Short fish again. Tournament director has final say pertaining to legal size of a fish. So if the bump man can't get it to sit right, or you measured it and it might have shrunk in the live well, you never know. I've had fish grow on me, I've had fish shrink on me. He has final say, or he or she has final say, and if it's a legal fish. All right, and if you don't know already, guys, the legal, what you're fishing for in Texas high school is 5 fish, all of legal size, and that's what you can bring up to the scales. All right, in case of ties, you can look at that later. Logo and display, television coverage, guys. Your team should have jerseys that you can wear. They're gonna have to have the Texas High School Bass Association logo on it, whoever sponsors you have. And the tournament director has the authority to decide if you're wearing something that if you cannot wear it at that weigh-in stuff, if you're wearing something gang related, or if you've got like drugs, alcohol, that might be suggestive on there. Just wear a plain performance shirt, easiest way to do it if you don't have a jersey, guys. Truth verification test and polygraph is a big thing, especially if you do, I think it's like top 5 or 10. You're gonna be subject to a polygraph. Make sure you have insurance on your boat, guys. $300,000 is required on all boats used in high school fishing tournaments, and proof of insurance is one of the biggest things that you have to have as well. If you don't have it, it will result in disqualification of that tournament. Let me see, academic eligibility, no pass, no fish rule. So if you're failing a class, get your grades up, and you should be all good. But other than that, guys, I know this was a long video. If you have any questions for me specifically, or other questions pertaining to rules, I'll be down in the comment section all the time trying to provide as much insight as I can. If you're a new coach coming into it and you want my contact information, just shoot me an email at lakepro@pondking.com, or you can comment down below. I'll have you DM me and I'll give you all my information, guys. So coaches, students, I hope that you all have a wonderful year in the Texas High School Bass Association. Again, I have no direct connection to the organization itself, and I'm speaking as a angler that's moved through the Texas High School Bass Association and as a coach and captain. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Please give it a share if you enjoyed it as well, and if you find this information to be very helpful. And of course, if you're a high school angler, guys, if you come in the shop here, we can get you 10% off on all orders, and that includes rods, reels, and tackle. So guys, stop on by if you're in the area. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.